So we have the Cricut Maker spray machine, and all you think about is how to create all those fancy vinyls designs that it can put out on the wall so people will admire, right? I know that. I'm in the process of just doing that. But do you ever think about troubleshooting? Troubleshooting guide, or call Cricut Maker and follow their instruction on the phone. You probably hear the jargon they speak of, like blade housing, clamp B, and left arms and right arms. What are they talking about? Turns out Cricut Engineer has engineered and drafted thousands of different tips, tutorials, and help articles on their website, but they all require are jargons that their engineer are quite familiar with. Or when you read that, you probably had to get used to these terms. So in this episode, let's review the terms that Cricut Engineer used to familiarize you to the troubleshootings. And in this guide, we're just talking about the moving parts inside the Cricut Maker 3 machines, because that will probably be the only moving parts you will see when you open the lid. Let's dive into this. So there is an article on Cricut website. It's called Cricut Maker Blade Installation Tips. In that article, their engineer has spelled out all the different names for the carriage, for the blade carriage, and we can call that, I have heard all the different terms about the carriage: pen holders, carriage, blade holders. Cricut Engineer has introduced the term A-clamp is for pen holders. So they call that A-clamp, which is this guy right here. And also this is B-clamp, which is holding the blade. And so when you open the clamp, you will see this blade. Actually, they have an official name for the blade. They don't call it blade, they call that blade housing. And basically, it's an assembly that assembled to house the blade. And there was protection for that blade. And that's why they call that blade housing. So A-clamp for holding the pen, and B-clamp for holding the blade. And the blade itself is called blade housing. Okay, so let's dive more into this. So in this article, their engineer also pointed out there are two important tips for installing the blade. So when you first install the blade, you have to have the blade sitting right on top of the clamp surface. So they call that clamp surface. And you cannot have the blade sitting like this, above the surface. In that way, the blade will not touch the material. So the blade has to sit right on top of the clamp surface, like this. And then they call this guy here plastic tab. So you have to close the arms. They call this middle part of the B-clamp middle arms. So this is a middle arm and have indentations. So when you first have the blade sit right on top the arms, and that's secure. You close the arms first, and then you close the plastic tab. So they call that plastic tab. And this middle thing's arm. And the whole assembly is called B-clamp. Same with the A-clamp, which is basically holding the pen. So the second point I want to point out when you install the tips correctly is the B-clamp should be aligned with the A-clamp. And that's when you close this cover here, they will not interfere with the movement of the clamp. So that's it. So first, how you install the blade into the B-clamp. And the second, how you actually close the clamp. And so that's it. So the next time when you call Cricut Engineer about troubleshooting, so just use these terms: blade housings, A clamp, B clamp, and arms for holding around the blade. I hope you learned something today about the different terms on the A clamp and B clamp on the Cricut Maker 3. Thank you.